Hello, my crafty friends. Well, today I have a fun and simple coloring technique that I want to share with you, which features Stampin' Up markers. Hi, it's Lynn Dunn from Stamptastic Designs. Thanks so much for joining me today. In this episode of Stamptastic TV, I have 3 different card ideas to share with you, which feature this fun little coloring technique. So we will be using the In Color collection, the Stampin' Up markers. So I'm only going to be using 4 out of the 5 in colors. So we are going to be using these markers to color directly on the stamp. So keep in mind, you can use any colors that you want with this particular technique. Now the cards in this video feature the Quiet Meadow stamp set from Stampin' Up. So I'm actually going to be using this large flower image in this set. But again, you can use any supplies you have on hand with this technique. Okay, so let's talk about the technique. So I'm going to be using this particular image from the Quiet Meadow stamp set. And as I mentioned, you can use any image that you want with this technique. So you're going to apply the stamp to your acrylic block and just lay it down in front of you. Then you're going to take the Stampin' Up marker, and what you'll notice about the marker is that it has 2 different tips. It has like a brush tip and then a ballpoint pen type tip. So we're going to be using the brush side for this particular technique. And all you do is just simply kind of angle it a little bit and just color the stamp directly. So I'm just going to add this yellow color to these little flowers here on this image. And I'll just start by coloring all the flowers first. So this is Boho Blue. And then this is Moody Mauve. And I'm just going to color these little buds here with the Moody Mauve. And then the last thing I'm going to do is just color the stems and the leaves with the Pebbled Path. So this is like that darker gray color. And you just go along, and I like to angle my brush like I mentioned. It just makes it go on easier than if you go this direction. So if you just kind of hold this sideways and angle this brush tip, you get a really nice color on your stamp image here. All right, so that looks pretty good. Okay, so now what we're going to do is just stamp it. I'm using one of the Nested Essentials dies to stamp it. You can just use regular cardstock. And I'm going to stamp this directly in the center here. So it just gives a really nice image, and it's just a great way to add different colors to a stamp image instead of just stamping it all one color. So I used this particular image to create this fun little card. I thought it just made a great focal point, and then I just added some designer paper. You can get the full instructions, the step-by-step tutorial on how to create this card and the other 2 cards that I'll share. You can find the link featured in the description below this video. All right, so let me just show you that you can just continue to do this. So if you want the exact same focal point, which is actually what I used for all 3 of the cards, you can just keep coloring it. You don't have to clean the image. Just keep adding, you know, the ink here with this marker. So the nice thing about this technique is that these Stampin' Up markers are just like the ink pad. So it's your water-based marker. So it cleans up just like you would if you were, you know, inking this up with your stamp pad. Now, the thing to keep in mind when you're using this technique is that you need to be using the Stampin' Up markers. This technique will not work with the Stampin' Blends. The Stampin' Blends are alcohol-based markers, and if you color your stamp with the Stampin' Blends, you will actually be coloring the stamp. It will not stamp off onto the paper. You'll just simply be coloring your stamp. So do not use the Stampin' Blends to do this. All right, so let's add this to a different shape now. So again, I'm using the Nested Essentials dies, and I'm just adding this just to a different shape. And so that's what our design looks like on this shape. And then I just created this card, just a very simple card design, but it really accents this particular image nicely. All right, so here are the first two cards that I just created the focal point for. And then I used the exact same image, the exact same colors, just a different die cut shape. And again, this is with the Nested Essentials dies. So it's a little banner die cut shape to create this last card. So it's the exact same focal point, the exact same colors. I just changed out the card layout or the design of the card just to create something different with each of these shapes. So besides decorating the front of your cards with this technique, you can also use it to add a little decoration to the inside of your card. Okay, so there you go. Now you know how to use the Stampin' Right markers to color any stamp image. And if you enjoyed these card ideas and this technique, feel free to download the printable tutorial. You can find the link in the description below this video. Thanks so much for joining me today. If you enjoyed this video, please let me know by liking it and sharing it with your friends. And leave me a comment below to let me know what you enjoyed most about the video and the cards shared here today. Have a fun and creative day, my friends. Take care.